Okay, so here is our album. It's perfectly dry, so now we can start to work on it. So if we bring in the one I did earlier, you can see I've got a tattered lace die that I've cut out, and what I've got inside is one of the Creative Crafting World pictures from the pretty poppies. So this is a different colourway completely, but what I've got is a picture of the poppies that will pick up the pink on here, and it's also picking up the pink here. Okay, so again I've done the same tattered lace die, and it fits perfectly over that one. Now this bit here is going to take most of the wear, if you like, of your album. So what I like to do is add a piece of acetate. So I'm going to take this. The easiest way of doing this is a spray glue, but you can do it with wet glue or tiny micro dots. So for speed I'm going to do this with spray glue, and I want to place it, it's difficult for you to see, but I'm going to place it on the acetate so that I now have a window behind. And I'm going to just take my scissors and just cut round the little nodules . Nobody's going to actually see that you haven't gone round all the bits. The other alternative is that you take your scissors and you cut slightly underneath the nodules, but we're going to go with this. Get rid of that for the moment. Then I'm going to go onto here, and so I'm going to put some strong double-sided tape around the edge. I want to keep away from the picture. It's not going to show, it'll show clear, it's not going to show red under the picture. Right, so there we have that ready. And I'm going to take those off, and I'm just going to use my craft knife to just help me lift the edges up. This is quite a thick double-sided, so it's quite alright to go in with the knife and just get it started. There we go. Now, going over the top and straight down. Sorry, that might have gone out of shot. But now I've got my acetate on there and it's protecting my picture. I think it's that way up because there's a bud on there. Right, now I've picked up some of the pink colour on here, and I've just noticed I've got one little bit on there I haven't picked out. So I'm now going to take this and fix this down. Do go all the way round Alright, don't cheat on this because it's going to be the thing that gets knocked on your album. I'm now going on to the pink. Now all I want is a tiny bit of pink all the way round to just pull the colour. So I'm going on to that. And again I'm just going very close to the little picots on here so that I just get a hint of pink that's coming from behind. Okay. Keep any bits like that. So now I've got a piece that is the black edging that I've used here. It's a matching die to go with this one, but you can use anything that you have in your stash. I wouldn't suggest that you use sticky fixers to make this raised up because you don't want it getting caught while people are looking at the album or while it's just resting on a table. So, almost there. So this one is then going to go in the middle here. There we go. So there is our motif that is going to go on. Slightly different to this one in that I've put, slightly different to this one in that this one I've put the extra piece of paper on the background and picked up the dark edge on there. This one, because this is so heavily patterned, right, I'm just going to go on with that. Okay, I may later choose to put peel off corners on there. I'm not sure yet. So going all the way round. So you do want this fixed securely. There we go. And get that up the right way. And I'm going to go and centre that on there, fix it down well, and there is the outside. This the original, and this one is using a different picture, different pattern backgrounds, but all from the same collection, Pretty Poppies. Okay, so I'm going to put that to one side, and we're concentrating on this one. Right, so one of the nifty gadgets that I tend to use while I'm doing this is these little clips, which just hold everything in place. Now let's look at the pages that we're going to do. And what I do generally on this one, because I've got about 15 centimetres to play with, I've got my A4 sheet folded in half, and it's 15 centimetres high. Now I can do this with any sort of glue, but I'm going to go with wet glue. So I'm going to take my wet glue and go all the way round, down this edge, and I'm also going down this edge here. And what I want to do is to fold this over the first flange. So I'm going down one side and onto the other. So on that first flange that I've now got one piece of my A4 going one side, one going the other, and it's right down against the bottom there. Okay, so once that's in place, I'm going to take 4 clips and I'm placing 2 clips at the bottom, which is going to make sure that it's tightly fixed to that flange. And then I'm just going to add a few more bits up the side. This glue dries very quickly, so it only needs the clips on for a few minutes. There. So while we look at that, there's my first page, and it's really sturdy. We're going to have a look at what we're doing decorating it. Okay, so here was the opposite pieces that I prepared for here. And if we take a look, I'll try and open that there. This piece is going to go onto there when it's dry, and then we will have matching pages. Okay, so while we're looking at that, right, we need to have the same matching pages on the back. So there we've got my piece that is the opposite to there. So while we're waiting for that to dry, there's no reason why we can't put the next page at the back. Okay. There's no logic to which order you do it. It's just that I've got those pieces already cut, so I might as well put them in. Right. Do make sure that you've got the glue down either edge here, because one's going to go one side of the flange and one will go the other. So I'm going to take that, put it up against the flange and one each side, and slide it into place. So I'm going to pop that one on there, pop that one on there, make sure that they're not bowing at the bottom, so they're tightly fixed. And I can now take these off here and just attach them to there. Right, so I'm going to leave these bottom two for the moment, as that's the bit I want fixed most. But there you go, there are two fixed, and for the moment I'm going to leave these. I have prepared all my other bits. Now if you look at this, it's actually a 6x6 card. So I folded my own, but you could easily, if you go to this sort of measurement, you can easily put a 6x6 card on there. Okay. So I have those prepared, and we'll come back in a few minutes and take these clips off and we can start decorating. Right, so now we've got the front and the back pages all dry. I'm going to take this one, which is opposite picture to that, and for now I'm just going to spray with a spray adhesive, and that is going onto that page. I want to make sure that it moves nicely with the hinge. I have got a slight overlap there, so I will turn that round and neaten that up. There we go. Okay. If you try and cut too accurately, the chances are you will have white showing, and I'd rather cut the extra bit. So while I'm here, I'm going to do the opposite side to here, right, because I've already cut the pages there. So opposites, and again, there is my spray adhesive. There we go. Make sure it doesn't interfere with the hinge, and just take that smidging off. Okay. Right, we're going back to these front two pages, and we're going to start some of the decoration. So this is going to be a friendship album, and I've got lots of friendship quotes. So I've printed them onto a clear matte acetate. So it's the friends we meet along the way that helps us appreciate the journey. So that's going to start my album. And I've picked out two of the pictures from the CD. It's just slightly different. And these are going to be on here on flaps that come out. So I'm going to put those there. So to marry it up onto this side, I have just done a matching colour with a blank piece. Okay. So I'm going to use double-sided tape for these. And I'm going to place the mat on first. And I'm thinking about what's going on this side. So I think I'm going to go onto there. So I get most of my picture down here. This is the plain one that's going to go on for my verse. So I'm going to place that onto there. Now, as I said, these are printed on an adhesive acetate, and I want to leave a little bit of room under here because I want to put a flower under here when I've cut it out. So I take my scissors and I'm just using the scissors to just burnish that down, and it virtually disappears into the background. Okay, now I'm going to look to this one. Now, I wanted to have a flap that opened, so I've gone for 2 pictures and cut them out with square dies. And for the moment, I'm just going to assemble those so that they're ready to use. There are so many different things that you can put in your album to just display little pictures, decoupage, anything you like. So we're going to look at one that does flaps on this one. Now I have 2 pictures, and with the mounts they're about 10, just over 10 centimetres. So I've taken a piece of A4 and cut myself a 10 centimetre strip, and I folded it into 3 sections. I'll show you in a minute. There we go. So I've taken this and I've scored it so that I've got a 10.5 centimetre piece in the middle. Okay, the extra bits we're going to cover, so it doesn't matter that one of them is slightly short. So I'm going to take my blank one. I haven't decided just yet what words are going to go on here. We'll have a look in a minute and decide. This gives me my 3 panels. And they all match beautifully. Okay, so that's the beauty of having the digital crafts, that you can print whatever you like at whatever size that you like. Let's take these off. Okay. This is my centre panel. So that is nicely positioned there. Now I want these to be able to fold in and give me my pictures. So I'm going to take this one and I'm going to mount that onto this bit. It comes, I've done it so that it doesn't interfere with this crease I've got. So I want to make sure when I fix it down that it's going to stay that way. Right. So I'm coming as near as I can to there. That's my flap, and you'll notice this is slightly short. So I'm going to take another piece of the green I'm going to take this piece and put it on the inside. Now again, I need to make sure that I don't interfere with this crease. So I'm going to match that to there. And there is my flap coming in. So you'd never know that it was slightly short under there. Now we're going to take this one and I'm going to place this one on this side. So this one is on this side, and again, because it comes out here, I'm going to take another piece of the pale green and placing that on. You'll see how this comes together. It is a lot of work, but if you're making a memory album, then you need to make sure that people are going to want to keep it and it's going to be really special. So there I have my piece that will fold out, and I'm going to stick it in Now we'll see in a minute how, if we'd have got tight pages without this 1 centimetre gap, this would have distorted your album terribly, because look at the thickness that we've got, and if we're doing things on 2 pages, that's going to be an awful lot. So I'm going to match this sort of gap here, and there is my flap that opens. Right, now I need to decide what goes in here. If the friends we meet along the way help us to appreciate the journey, I'm going to go for this one. Best friends make the good times better and the hard times easier. So cut round the verse that I want. I make sure that it's going to fit. Now, if you remember, I said I was going to put a flower in here. So when I've got this, I shall put a flower on either side of that. Roughly put it down, and then I take the scissors and gently burnish down, and it disappears into the paper. Right, so that is our first 2 pieces of our album. So I can now close that over. I then decide whether I want to go to this one or whether I want to go to the back of my album. Now, I actually think I want to leave that, because that's going to be the parting thing that anybody sees, and I think I have in mind exactly what I want to put on those pages. But I want to build up the album in my mind first. So what about fixing on here? I could do a little bit of ribbon with a bow, But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to slot a little magnet in that side and a magnet in that side to just hold that closed. But that's something we can come back to later. Right, I now need to prepare my next 2 pages. So I'm going to find my next folded card, and we're going to go back to the wet glue and my little clips. So I'm going to make sure where it folds there is glue all the way around the outside, and I'm coming down through here. Now I start to fold it together. I can hold it like that and separate pages, and they should fit exactly. Put your fingers in to just make sure there's no bow in the paper, and in goes the clips, and I'm just going to attach these up so it's making sure that there's no gaps here. Can you see how this gaps a little bit? There's some on the floor. There we go. So there's my next page, and I can see that there's a little bit of a flap there, so I'm going to come back down with some wet glue, and I'm just going to pop that on to secure that. Okay, so what I think I'm going to do now is to add the extra pages, and we'll come back as those have dried. Okay, so we're now at a place where I've got all of the pages in place, and they're all nice and dried with the glue. Okay, so back to where we were in the beginning. We've got a simple message at the front. I've put the magnet now inside, so it's slipped under this picture and it's slipped into the back of here. So now that snaps closed. Right, we're going to look at the next couple of pages now, and I've chosen the green version of one of the pages. So we've now got this one, and the second one, instead of matching this one, I'm turning it that way. There's a reason behind that. I want to put a portion of card along this bottom to make a pocket. So I didn't want to cover up all those beautiful flowers. Okay, so we're going to work on this side first, and I'm going to take wet glue. So you can use any adhesive that you like. Okay. This particular one isn't going to take too much weight, so I'm quite happy doing it like that. So there is our first one, and what I've chosen for this one is a tag and a pocket. So I'm going to have my pocket towards this side, and I've made a little tag that matches, and it says, "Friendship isn't about who you've known the longest, it's about who came and never left your side." Okay, so I have put double-sided adhesive around this one to begin with. I've put some black on the edge so that it pops off the page. I use a lot of the black to make stuff just pop. So I want the opening this side, and I'm going to fix that down. I tend to keep my finger just in this side so that it's not too tight. So in goes little tag, goes, and I've put a little bit of ribbon with a tiny bit of glue on the ribbon so that that's then ready to pull it out. Okay, now we come to the more complicated one. So this time I'm going to do a bit of work on it before I put it in. So if I can just put that to one side for the moment, and we'll bring that back in. I have made a small piece here which is half the width. Okay, and what I want to do is to fix that on there, and I want to, before I put it in there, I want to wrap these round. Now this is going to take 4 little cards that we're going to do, and these will pop in to the pocket. So I don't want it too tight. Remember that we've got a centimetre here where we can make things a lot thicker. So what I'm going to do now is to take double-sided sticky fixers, and I've got some here that are sort of 3mm thick, and I'm just going to chop those in half. You can use double-sided tape, double-sided sticky fixers, whatever. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put sticky fixers down here to just give it a little bit of padding. So 3 down there. Now if you remember when we covered the front and the back of the book, we put double-sided tape on, and we're going to cut these corners in a minute. So these here are purely to give me a little bit of a spacing, because we've got 4 cards to go in there, and they've all got inserts, and we're going to put a verse inside each one. So there we go. Right. Okay, so I want my flowers at the top. I'm going to bring that down there and line it up with the black. There. Right, same way as we did the others, but I can snip right to the corner on this one. Right, now just before I press down on these, I'm going to place my cards just in the pocket there, and it will give me just a bit to press down on. So there we've got that. Take this one to there, and I've got double-sided on this one ready to just fold that over we go. Now I'm going to take those out. Now, can you see that we've got a little bowed piece here? All right, and that's going to ensure that you can get your things inside. So I'm going to give that just a bit of a help with that. There. Now, to decorate this bit before we stick it down, I've got, I thought I'd left a piece sticking out. There it is. This ribbon matches the ribbon on our tag. So I'm going across with that and then tuck it over there. We want no loose ends that are going to wear unevenly. Now I then have, as part of the USB, there were 4 pictures. I've chosen 3. So I'm going to take this one, which is the darker colour, and I think I'll do double-sided tape. I'm going to place this one in the middle. So I'm going to aim the middle of that one, and I'm looking that these two are balanced. Now, I'll prepare these two. And then we'll see which ones. Now on this one the bud is to the right, this one bud to the left. So that is how I'm going to have them. So I'm lining that up there. And then I'm going to take this one and line that up there. So there is my next page, and we've now got to take double-sided tape, and I need to go round here. I need to make sure that these side pieces on the bottom are going to be tightly fixed. Make sure that comes down. Now you know that when you put your cards in and out, none of this will lift up because each piece has been placed inside. Right, there we go. Make sure that you don't go over the hinge there, and it opens and closes neatly. So at the moment here is our pocket, our little tag, and this was another sort of pocket on there. So we're just going to come now and assemble the cards to go in it. Now on the USB there was this one that inspired this page. So we have 4 motifs, and there was a larger outline round each one. see the pictures at the moment, but I've cut those down so that I've got this little picot edge. And the theme of black has gone right through it because it's actually picking up the focal point of the flowers. Okay, so I have gone for 10cm cards, which I've made from A4, and I've also lined them with one of the inserts that I've shrunk down to go with that. So always make sure that when you open the card, the insert has been attached to the front. Okay. So I have 4 little friendship verses. How beautiful a day can be when friendship touches it. So there's that one. Just burnish that down. Place it over there for the moment. Open the next one, make sure it opens correctly. True friends are never apart, maybe in distance, but never in heart. Next one. Burnish it down. Number 2. That one opens like that. A true friend is the greatest of all blessings. Right. If you ever do that, and little cuddle on the card there, be prepared to just get a cool iron and just iron it. Right, last one here. Good friends are like stars. You don't always see them, but you know they're always there. Right, okay, so there's 4 verses in place, and we've now got, I've got this die cut motif. I've made a black mat to go behind it, and that's going to really pop off the page. The whole thing, the whole page is all matching both sides. So when this goes on, it now has a white edge that's picking up the colours there. Onto the black. Card number 2. This double page has gone together quite quickly, but there's been quite a lot of preparation in the background. So do be prepared for this to take you quite a while, and just work on it bits when you've got time. Okay. It is something that you would expect people to treasure. There we go. Right, so that's the last one. so pink, white, there, and turn those around there so it's evened out the bulk, and those will be, let's do that so you can see that there's 4 nicely in there. Go back to the beginning, matching pages, matching pages. Okay, so turn that over. Can you see now how you needed, if I put it up that way, how you needed that 1 centimetre between so that your book won't be distorted? Okay, so we've got lilac, green, so I think I might be looking probably at something pink, but I will go and see what I can find. Okay, we're on to the next double page spread, and I've gone for pretty lilac colour. So the first thing we're going to do is to stick both pieces in. Cold's getting to me. Right, so all the way round. Now, one of these is going to take a heavier, excuse me, heavier display. So when I'm looking at it, this is the heaviest side here. So I'm going to put the lightest side I'm going to put the lighter one on here, and this one is the heavier side. So I'm going to prepare that one now and give it time to dry, because I want to make sure that it's sealed down all across the middle too. Okay. So let's make sure it's the right way up. Hinge works nicely, and I'm just going to put some little clips. These are very inexpensive, and I use them for making up boxes and all sorts. It's an extra pair of hands when you're working. Move down a bit. There we go. So that's all being prepared as I work on this side. Now on this side, another way to make a bit of interest is we've got an envelope, and we've got an envelope with a card inside that just slides in and out. Excuse me. So I'm going to put several strips. You can make a commercially made envelope. But actually what I like to do is to take an envelope apart and just use it as a template. So, yeah, and I'm going to just set it at an angle, I think, on this one, and that slides in and out. And we've got a friend accepts you for what we are, yet helps us to be what we should be. Okay, so that's that one. That was a very quick one. Right, this one should probably have gone off by now. Right, now here's a more complicated one. What we're going to do is an exploding fold. Okay, it's called a napkin fold. But what happens, I got one here that I made earlier. What happens is that you put a band around it and it will go in there on that side and we've got a motif to go on the front. So this one, when it opens and you've got your little verse inside. So one of the important things when doing this one is to make sure that you reverse all your folds, because it needs to be flexible. So we're going to look now at I've got a 20 centimetre square. Now what I need to do is to go on here. You need to work out whatever size square you've got, you need to work out a quarter. So this is 20 centimetres, so a quarter is 5. So I'm going to score down 5 centimetres and I'm going to turn it round and score 5 centimetres each side. There we go. And then what I need to do, you're not going to see this mark that I make, but I'm going from corner to corner on that centre square, and I need to mark the exact centre. So there it is. Right. Okay, that's all we have to do. So what I'm going to do now is to fold all of these lines in, turn it over and reverse the folds. There we go. Right, now we're going to take each corner and accurately put it to that centre mark. And when I do, I'm watching that this bit here lines up and this bit here lines up. Okay, undo it, take the next bit, bone folder, see how nicely this line continues. Now that one I can tell slightly out. Right, turn it over and reverse all the folds. There we go. Right, now you've got this triangle piece on each side. So what I need to do is to push that triangle in. Right, and as I push that triangle in, this bit goes straight on the corner. There, can you see it's all folded in? Right, so on this one, lift, push the triangle in and let this go down flat. And when it gets to here, I need to push the 2 in and flatten. So now I'm just going to reinforce all my folds. There we go. Last bit we do, we fold back these corners, which shows us all the colour that's on the inside. There we go. So there is our napkin fold, and when you open it out, there you have room in the middle for our wording. So I'm going to take a black mat and I'm putting the black mat in the middle and making sure I've got the same border all the way round. Now this was a piece of the backing paper which I've cut with a die cut, and so it looks like a topper. Yep. So that goes in there. So a friend is someone who knows the song in your heart and can sing it back to you. Pull in all the triangles and it will fold itself around. Now, what we need to do now is to get this inside. I've just done a band here. I made it much longer and I've just cut it to what size I need to wrap around this. It will alter as to the thickness of your paper that you've folded and how well you've put those folds in. So there we go. There is my band around it, and I've also made up a topper from one of the other motifs. Now the thing to remember about this is if you seal that down, it's not going to open. So what we need to do is to put our glue on this side. Let's put that on there and put a little mark there. We don't want our glue to come any further back than that. Okay, flour up the right way, and we then position that in the middle and just let it go tacky. Right, this one then is going to go on there. So if we have a look, we can put glue on this bit, but this bit is a little bit deeper. So what I want to do with that one is I've got some thin double-sided sticky fixers. So I'm going to put 3 on there, 3 on there, and I'm going to put double-sided tape across there. Now the thin double sticky fixers will be just enough to make sure that that's all stuck down. So there we go with that. turn it over, and I'm ready to stick that down. On my page there. Okay, so that one needs opening, and then it will all come out to see what's inside. So there is our next double page. There was our second one. That was our first one. So the album is starting to come together beautifully. So let's have a look from the top, and you can see that that has taken up half of our album. This might seem a little bit loose, but when we've got all our other bits in, this is going to be totally full. Okay, so that is end of the next chapter, and then we will start again on some more double pages.